There we go. Okay, so Lauren, next slide.
Also on our website, that same link that I just was talking about is the soccer rules and the soccer coaches guide. Again, this has a lot of great information and probably a lot of, if you have any questions or confusion, these two books will be able to answer those things for you. And then this is new on the soccer page, but we do have a warm-up guide and a cool-down guide as well on the website. And again, you can be able to click these links once you have the PowerPoint. So for soccer, our events offered are individual skills, advanced individual skills, 5v5, 7v7, and unified 7v7. And for individual skills, it is going to be dribbling, shooting, running, and kicking. And just some reminders or some new things for you. Athletes must be dressed like your team members, and individual skills athletes may not sit on the team bench. For advanced individual skills, it's the 12-meter slalom dribble, control and pass, gather, dribble, and shoot. And again, the same reminders, dress like your team members, and the skills athletes cannot sit on the team bench. And here's just a little overview of the attire for the soccer athletes. As you can see, the jersey, shorts, the socks, footwear, and shin guards. This again is on our website that goes into further detail of logos and names and numbers and where everything should be placed if you have any questions. And then, of course, our everybody plays rule. Everyone on the roster must play in each game and in prelims. This chart goes over the team roster sizes for 5v5, 7v7, and unified 7v7. Minimum team for 5v5 is 5 athletes. The maximum number is 10 athletes. And then on the field, minimum is 5 athletes, including the goalie. For 7v7, minimum is 7, maximum is 12, and then on the field, 7 athletes, including the goalie. And for unified 7v7, the minimum is 4 athletes, 3 partners, 6 athletes, 6 partners, and then for on the field, 4 athletes and 3 partners. This chart is just the playing area, what it should look like. I'm not going to go through all of these measurements, but this is just a chart for you to view. And again, all of this stuff is on our website if you have any questions or confusion.
That's great, Lauren.
For team play, the ball size should be size 5 and unlimited substitutions over the sideline kick-in, over the end line goal clearance. Ball must be completely over the line to be considered out of play. And for free kick, opposing players must retire 5 meters from the ball. And this is just an overview of the game time for the 5v5, 7v7, and unified 7v7. So this is new and probably new for a lot of you on your portal where you were, if you were over in VSIS and now on our new portal, this is where our soccer training schools and our training schools will be from now on. And Erica will go over more information later on about this, but we do have an in-person training school that will be offered on Sunday, July 28th from 10:30 to 12:30 in Lehigh County. And to be able to sign up and get your hours and things from that will be through your portal. Some outside safety reminders, air quality checks, and know the address of the location where you're training. Remind athletes to always have water bottle for hydration. Walk the venue prior to practice just to make sure everything is safe and okay for the athletes to participate. If practicing outside, make sure you have sunscreen, bug spray, and ball caps, and anything else that you may need for the athletes. And where is it? Make sure everyone is aware of the predetermined safety zone if anything should happen. And then for thunder and lightning, every time you see lightning or hear thunder, stop practice and seek shelter for 30 minutes. and this is every time you see lightning or hear thunder.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lauren. I greatly appreciate you helping me out tonight.
Of course.
And if you do have any questions, we can answer them at the end of this webinar. So just to keep you guys updated, I know you've all have seen this, but this is our season at a glance. You can get this from our website. That's our fall season. As you can see, the season length is August 9th through November 3rd. And most importantly, I'm going to be bringing this up a couple of times tonight. We've mentioned it on our other fall seasonal webinars. The eligibility deadline is August 23rd. So for the fall seasonal dates, I'm not going to click on these because I want to get through so that we can get into our videos. But this will let you know, once you click on here, it'll take you to the central fall seasonal calendar on our website. You can see August 23rd is the eligibility deadline, and you can get all the information on the calendars on our website. Lauren talked a little bit about air quality. I can't believe it, a couple of days ago, I noticed I got an alert about air quality in the central Pennsylvania area. So please know that the unhealthy zones are 151 or above. So that means no outside activity should occur. You can monitor the air quality at airnow.gov and double check your locations. It's a great website. It's very fascinating and really helped us last year and also again this year. If you have any other references that you need about air quality guides or any more information, you can click on this. As you get the PDF tomorrow, it'll give you more details and references that you should need. So athlete volunteer eligibility. So the medical files, registration forms, and health history are underneath the certifications on our website. These are valid for 3 years. Class A volunteer requirements. So background results are underneath the background check, and they're valid for 5 years. General orientation is valid for life. Protective behaviors and concussion training are all valid for 3 years. So team sports age group, we've been talking about this for a couple of years now. Just make sure that you know that the team sports, as you all know, soccer, flag football, and volleyball are our team sports for the fall. Winter is here and spring is here as well. If you have any questions and need some resources about the guidelines for team sports age grouping, you can click on this resource. We also have documents of why their groups are important and exemption processes right here. The exemption for the fall is again this deadline of August 23rd. If you have any questions, you can also see that we have a video here for you to review and get some more details. And if you have more questions, you can reach our regional sport directors of your region or Michelle Boone, Vice President of Sports. Our qualifiers, as you can see, are soccer 5v5, 7v7, and skills. You must make sure your athletes attend their respective sectional in order to be considered for our next state event, which is Fall Festival. Fall allocations was shared last week in the weekly email. You can see allocations for bocce, East, Central, and West, and allocations for powerlifting are only for the East sectional. You can go to the allocations website, paperwork website, and click on here to check out the fall allocations. And you can also check them out and add in any additional requests to your LOI. Okay, be prepared for the season. As we talk about a lot right now, it's very hot. Yesterday and the day before, I did get alerts about air quality, so make sure you're aware of the air quality and heat risks. Make sure if you do have any illnesses or outbreaks, I know we've had a few people talk about that some new variants are going around with COVID. Please make sure that you're aware of this with your community and make sure your athletes are not training if they are all sick or one of them is sick. As Lauren had said, please make sure that you understand your emergency evacuation plans of your facilities and update yourself on your sports rules and work with your assistant coaches as well so that you guys can be as best as possible with your facilities. I'm going to admit somebody right now here. Okay. So we have this wonderful program, Athlete as Coaches. They can go ahead and submit a request form to get approval from their head coach to be an athlete as coach. Our colleagues, Lauren, Jennifer Tress, and Jordan Schubert just created a webinar about a couple weeks ago now, maybe 3 weeks ago, on how to be an athlete as coach. So you can click on this webinar and you can see there are really great information about athletes as coach. Here is the request form that you can click on that your athlete can send the request form in. You will work with your head coach and then it'll be reviewed by your regional sport director and it'll be determined if they are appropriate and attend the training school. If you do have any questions, contact our colleague Jordan Schubert. So coaching requirements, as you all know, but I'm going to bring it up again, is that you must have one certified coach per team, and you must have one certified coach for the individual sports or team individual skills for 25 athletes. So for an example, you can have 2 teams for 3 skills athletes. You would need 3 certified coaches, 1 for the team and 1 for the skills. So this is the tracker, and I made sure I got the video and the sound on. I have several slides that talk about in detail the tracker, but right now I am going to click on this recording, and my colleague Michelle Boone, who is the Vice President of Sports, she's going to go into further detail about the trackers.
Hey everyone, my name is Michelle. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about our trackers.
Lauren.
So
Mute
we've made a lot of changes based on your feedback over the last year to hopefully make this whole process a little bit easier for each of our coaches. I'm going to go ahead and just share screen here. All right, so here you're looking at, this is a team tracker, but I think just to walk you through kind of what is included in here. So the first tab is the instruction tab. The second tab we have is kind of what we'll call kind of the tracker, and then LOI. That's where you'll really manage eligibility and the LOI data, as well as attendance. The sport-specific roster is where you'll manage really everything that has to do with event registration. And then each of the team sports also has a team ratings form tab. There's an additional one in here. It's just a volunteer position requirements. And this is just a snapshot of some of those different ways an individual can volunteer and then what the clearances are. So just move this in here as kind of an easy access for coaches who may have some questions about that. So we'll dive into each of those tabs a little bit. And I'm really going to focus today on what's important for our coaches, right? What are we expecting? How are we expecting you to kind of work within these and manage? And then kind of what do we need you to be doing in them when it comes to event registration or LOIs? So on the instruction tab here, so we have just moved over this top bit was historically on the volunteer tracking tab, but this is just really data for that training site. So if we could ask each of our training site leads, whoever's receiving this tracker, to go ahead and fill out the green boxes here, just allows us, anyone kind of coming in here knows who the go-to person to contact for that training site is, may there be any questions. And then these gray here will automatically populate the numbers once you have some information listed on that athlete and volunteer tab. It'll also tell you here if you're meeting the 4-to-1 ratio for 4 Class A volunteers, or 1 Class A volunteer for every 4 athletes at the training site. So again, that'll just give you some statistics. The rest of this here just walks you through a little bit. We'll talk through today, but walks you through a little bit as to what you can expect, what kind of each tab contains and what you can expect on each of the tabs. So we'll start here with the volunteer and athlete tab. So these first columns here, so A through H, all that data will be populated off of the sign-up forms. So if you have athlete or volunteers that are regular participants at your training site, they should need to be completing the sign-up form. That deadline has passed. So the deadline to complete the fall sign-up forms was July 15th. So if you have any individuals at this point in time that need to get put onto this sheet, they will need to contact your regional sport director directly. So you can just provide them with that information and they can get a hold of them. The regional sport director will work with those individuals to complete the sign-up form if there is still room and space at your training site to take more athletes. And then once they complete that sign-up form, they will get populated on your tracker tab here. All this information is locked. So the information in A through H is all locked information. You are not able to make any changes or edits to that. If there are edits that need to be made, again, you should just contact your regional sport director and they can help to do that for you. The other thing that the regional sport directors will do is sort this for you. So they will sort it by participant type and then alphabetically by name. If there's a different way that you would like it sorted, if you would just like to see something very specific, again, you can reach out to them and they'll make those updates for you. As we scroll across here, we have frozen columns A through C so that as you scroll across, the names and participant types will stay on your screen. So the next really important columns are the eligibility. So I and J are also locked cells. This information will automatically be populated. Our regional administrative managers, or our RAMs, are the ones who are managing that on the back end. And again, based on an individual's eligibility status, these things will populate here. We have color coded these for you to, again, hope to make it easier for you to be able to navigate through there. So anyone that's green, that pops up green is eligible. They're good to be at your training site. Anyone that pops up red is missing something. So if it's a volunteer, they may be missing clearances or some of the certifications, general orientation, protective behaviors, concussion training that is needed to be a Class A volunteer at a training site. Whatever they're missing will be listed in column J. So in this example, they're not eligible, they're missing protective behaviors. This would be an athlete not eligible, they're missing a medical. The RAMs are working with those individuals. They're in communication with them to try to get those things updated. As a reminder, the deadline for that is August 23rd is the seasonal eligibility deadline. So anyone that is showing up red needs to be updated by that point in time in order to stay on your roster and to be eligible for participation in either sectional events or state level events. Anyone on here in yellow is expiring. So they have something that is expiring in the middle of the season. So prior to Fall Fest this year. It'll list what the item is that it's expiring and the date that it's expiring on. Again, our RAMs will be working with those individuals to get those things updated. But you see these people more often, right? They're regularly at your training site. So I think a friendly reminder that that is expiring and it's something that they'll need to go in and do is super helpful. The other category, a newer one that we've added here, is the orange. So these are essentially Class B volunteers at your training site. Again, we've tried to capture different than in years past, everyone who is a regular attendee at your training site. So we encourage this, right? Like we know we want you to have help and these people are great additions. It's just important that you know and understand that they cannot directly supervise athletes. So they cannot be one-on-one with an athlete ever. They should never be asked to take an athlete to a bathroom or they just need to always have supervision when they are directly working with athletes. So great resources, again, to help you run skills and drills or to help specific athletes with specific skills. I mean, they can work one-on-one with an athlete. It just needs to be in your purview, right? So it needs to be happening kind of within the venue where you're there kind of overseeing and supervising. But those are just Class B individuals. So they do not have Class A clearances, which is what makes them orange. If you have some people that play this role, but they have all of their Class A clearances, you can work with your regional sport director to change that person to a green on here. Change them from a general volunteer, to a chaperone or an assistant coach, just so you know that that individual can serve a role within that 1-to-4 ratio at your training site. If maybe you have a coach that is not able to attend a practice one day or something like that. So again, if you've got some of those people that are currently in orange but have all of their Class A clearances, I would suggest you move them over and we make them a green. The next thing on this sheet is your LOI. So we will no longer be sending out an additional kind of LOI form or LOI survey to collect that data. We will now be doing that right here on the tracker. So you will just indicate that on here by telling us. You'll just kind of X people off. So you'll put within each of these cells, if these are the people that want to attend sectional competition, you'll just put an X in there marking that. So as you know, we put out initial allocations. So, we can just use the sport of like bocce for an example. If you've got 10 bocce initial allocations, but you want to bring 20 bocce athletes, on here you would mark 20 bocce athletes. So you would just mark off, these are the 20 people that I want to bring. That is essentially telling us that I accept my 10, but I also want an additional 10, which is the information that you would have historically given us on the form that we've sent. And now if you don't want that 10, you just select 6, right? And so again, that's telling us, okay, I'm going to take 6 and I'm giving you back 4. So here you should just be marking the athletes that are wanting to attend sectional competitions. Also ask that in column M here, you're using this to indicate which of those athletes also are interested in attending Fall Fest, right? So not always the case that everyone going to a sectional event wants to attend Fall Fest as well. So if there, are people that want to attend, you'll just X them off. And then maybe you have 1 or 2 people that don't want to attend, you would just leave those blank. So I think that's pretty straightforward for kind of how we'll manage LOIs. Just real quick, as far as USA Games go, this is a qualifying year for USA Games 2026. So if you have athletes or coaches that are interested in advancing and being part of the Team PA for 2026, just asking that you note that with a simple yes. You can sit down and have this conversation at a practice, maybe pull the parents, guardians in, just make sure that those individuals that you feel like those individuals that you're marking off here are appropriate for an event like that. That'll cue us to put them just into the drawing if their sport is selected for participation in USA Games. Also for the coaches, we will open up coach applications September 1st. They'll run through October 1st. So this will be helpful in giving us some information to know if there are some coaches at your training site that are interested, so we can make sure that we specifically get them the information. The other piece of this is the attendance tracker itself. So as we've done in the past year, you have the ability to keep attendance on here. You can just update the date for whenever your practice may be, and then you can go down your list and say, yep, these are the people that are here, those people were not here that day, and so on, right? So you're welcome to kind of utilize this as a way to keep attendance. You don't have to. It is required that you keep attendance, but you don't have to use this tool to do it. So if you find it easier to just maybe print something out and manually go in each week and check people off, you could print this sheet and just manually go in and do that. What's very important is we need you at the end of the season being able to come back in here and populate column O here. So what this says is that you're going to indicate here, did a specific athlete train for 8 weeks? And the answer is just yes or no. So yes, they attended 8 weeks of practice, or no, they did not attend 8 weeks of practice. This is really important data that we need to provide to SOI for the census and for our accreditation on a yearly basis. So again, this is kind of how we pull our athlete numbers. Really important that this gets completed at the end of the season and that it's correct. I failed to note in the instruction tab, but at the end of the season, once you go through and finish that, and you'll receive emails from your regional sport directors asking you to go into and do that after Fall Fest happens. Once you finish just marking off all your yes or no's, you'll come back over to this instruction tab and just change your roster status from active to final. That lets the RSD know that, yep, you've gone and you've checked all those people and all that information looks correct. The next tab is our roster tab. So this is kind of the sport-specific rosters. Similarly to the one before, all the information in A through F will be automatically populated into here based off the sign-up form. It will be sorted by your regional sport directors. So all of that stays the same. In this kind of G, H, and I is the event details. So for local events, your regional sport directors may choose to use this or not. For our sectional events and Fall Fest, you 100%, this is how you'll indicate kind of who's coming to each of those events. So on the previous page, we did the LOI, which is a letter of intent, right? So off of that, you will receive final allocations. So your regional sport director will share with you, okay, you wanted 20 bocce athletes. We actually are able to give you 16. So this is where you come into here now and you indicate, okay, these are the 16 athletes that I'm going to take to Fall Fest. So you'll just need to go in and you mark everyone's specific role in here. So you see some athletes there. If you've got some coaches that are down here, maybe you've got a head coach and maybe a few assistant coaches. So for every individual, right, every row, you would just mark the role that they're going to play at that event. There is a little kind of trick here. Once you indicate one of these athletes, you'll see this cell kind of gets highlighted blue. There's a little blue circle there. So if you just highlight with your mouse over that blue circle and you right click, you can pull down and it'll populate that same thing in all of the cells. So just a little tip that maybe saves you a little bit of time, especially for some of our larger delegations, in going down and being able to highlight a whole selection of athletes. And then maybe you've got, maybe there's 1 or 2 athletes in here that are not attending Fall Fest. You can just go back into those cells and, you can go highlight back over those cells and then just delete. So again, for some of our larger delegations, that may be an easier way to do it. So you will just need to do that for each of the events, right? So you'll need to go in and do that for sectionals after you get your final allocations. You need to put every athlete and every volunteer from your training site that is attending that event on here. And then the same for Fall Fest. So this is probably more important for volunteers. We will automatically advance the individuals that qualify for Fall Fest over. Volunteers, you will definitely need to go in and mark and tell us who is coming from a volunteer basis to Fall Fest. Also, just really important that we are abiding to the dates and deadlines that are in here, both from an LOI perspective, an event roster perspective, and an event registration perspective. Our team, kind of our SOPA headquarters sports team, will come in after those deadlines and pull all this information out. Once we pull it out, you don't have the ability to change it anymore. That is what has been submitted. We need to do a better job at sticking to these deadlines and kind of abiding to these deadlines. We had, I think, several issues over the course of the past year where it just made things really difficult if information continued to change on our end, on the committee's end. So just really asking that you're abiding to those deadlines. If there is kind of extenuating circumstances, just make sure that you're working with your regional sport director on them. They'll communicate with, whoever the event lead from a headquarters perspective is. But again, these should be few and far between. And then from an event registration standpoint, so we will also conduct or pull event registration from these forms. We'll get into that kind of sport specifically, what that looks like on each of our coach preseason calls. So we'll dive into, just each sport individually. But again, just really important to know there'll be no more Google registration. This is how we're pulling all of the information for events. Again, just trying to make it a little bit easier for our coaches, giving you one place where you need to get in there and populate everything. Hopefully it simplifies the process for you a little bit. I would suggest for coaches that you're keeping this stuff updated throughout the season. For a team sport, I think once you identify who is on each of your team specific rosters, you're coming in and just assigning, that individual to a specific team, putting a team name in here. If for whatever reason that changes, an athlete's not going to an event, you just won't mark them off as attending that event, right? You'll just leave that blank. But you can kind of list out your full rosters and then just let us know who is actually coming to each event. Same thing for skills, as you're identifying who your skill athletes are, you're doing some assessments throughout the season, just go ahead in here and drop in their skill score. So then once we get to an event registration deadline, all that information is already populated in here. So again, hoping that makes it a little bit easier for you. We'll talk about it more sport specifically. Similar to the team rating form. So again, I had said that that's one of the tabs here for all of our team sports. We'll dive into that a little bit deeper on each of those individual calls. So hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your regional sport director. Thanks.
Okay, that was fantastic. Thank you for all that detailed information, Michelle, and we can answer questions. As you can see, this is all the slides that you will have to look at again after you heard from Michelle. You can go in tomorrow and go back to all these slides. There's all the detailed information here for you. I just wanted you to have a more detailed information. But I did want to bring up here, this has changed. We are not doing the LOI on this form anymore. Some things have changed within the last couple of weeks, and we will be sending out for a sectional for Central Fall sectional at Juniata. Tomorrow, I'm sending out the event information. I am actually sending an LOI interest form for you. So just ignore this. We're just working out the kinks right now, but you will get an LOI form tomorrow. I'm not going to go through the rest of these tracker slides because she went in detail over them, but you have this at your leisure to go back and look at them again. Now I'm going to go to our colleague Charla Stein, and she is going to do a brief video on how to get to your athlete performance training and how you guys can take advantage of this.
Hi, everyone. We wanted to talk to you briefly about Special Olympics Pennsylvania's in-season fitness program, Athlete Performance Training. We are excited to show you an updated Athlete Performance Training webpage. To visit the Athlete Performance Training webpage, you're going to go to the Special Olympics Pennsylvania website under Beyond Sports and click on Fitness Programs. You'll then scroll down and you can see all of our fitness programs that we offer here at SOPA. Under Athlete Performance Training, you will scroll down and click Learn More. For those who are familiar with athlete performance training and have provided it to your athletes in the past, we thank you for your participation and we hope you participate again this coming season. For those who are new to SOPA or not familiar with athlete performance training, or APT as it is called, here's a brief information on how it works. Athlete performance training, as mentioned, is our in-season fitness program. It includes health education, as well as a fitness evaluation for athletes at the start and end of the season. It is a minimum of 8 weeks to participate in APT, but that is similar to how training sites are required as well, so it fits right in. Athlete performance training happens at the field of play, so it can happen on any sport. It can happen on the soccer field, it can happen on the track, it can happen on a bocce court. It can happen anywhere that you are training. And we provide every team, a coach will get their own coach's guide and athletes will get an athlete guidebook. In the coach's guidebook, you will be able to read scripts to provide health education lessons each week. We recommend you provide those during the warm-ups or the cool downs. And then athletes will be provided in their guidebooks fitness education and fitness and exercise programming that they can do at home. And you will encourage your athletes to do that at home when they're training during the season. The goal is for athletes to exercise 5 days a week, as well as eat healthier with more fruits and vegetables and drink water. Athletes are also provided a tracker so they can track these goals, and you can discuss those trackers with them each week at trainings to encourage them to keep going and provide them with feedback and support. So we've seen some really great results from athlete performance training, and we want to share with you now where we are with that data that we've collected so far.
APT has served over 400 athletes of all ages across 14 sports, and we've seen some amazing results so far. A majority of these athletes improved or maintained their health status, with over 90% of them improving or maintaining their blood pressure and body mass index. For athletes who started with health measures that we consider high risk, we saw across the board benefits to their health, as you can see here. 91 of those athletes improved or maintained their BMI, 92% improved or maintained their blood pressure, and 95% improved or maintained their 6-minute test time, a measure of cardio fitness. Our early returns suggest that participating in APT can contribute to athletes getting healthier and staying healthier.
So we're really hoping to continue to see these results come in. We know that we have a lot of work to do, and many of our athletes are excited to participate in athlete performance training this coming season. We hope you consider offering it at your training sites as well. And if you're interested in participating, we have updated the registration process. It is right there on the website. You will scroll down to where you see here if you're a coach, and the steps are written out for you. The first step will be to click on this link to watch the training video. The training video is about 30 minutes long and provides further details on the program, how you run the fitness test, and how you record the data. Then you will register formally here by clicking the link, and you will get a registration form that's easy to fill out. Once the registration form is completed, Special Olympics Pennsylvania will reach back out to you to confirm your participation. We will then mail you guidebooks to your home where you'll be able to utilize them through the season with your athletes. If you have any questions during the season, we're here to support you. You can obviously reach out to myself, Charlotte Stein, and my email address is linked here, or you can call me directly, and I'm happy to support you during the season, or if you have any questions prior to participation. All coaches who participate in athlete performance training will also be eligible for the bronze level in the coaches training and progression plan. Again, we greatly appreciate your consideration in participating in athlete performance training, and we look forward to working with you more during this season and beyond.
All right, fantastic. So those were my colleagues, Charlotte Stein and Calvin, and they are very, very excited to be talking with you about athlete performance training. So we need your help. We are really trying to build up our SOPA competition calendar. So we want to make sure that you all are working with our regional sport directors. And if you can let them know if you are creating different types of sporting events, competitions, whatever you plan out for that season, please, please let your regional sport director know. Also, you can click here on this link, this competition calendar submission form, and you can click on that, fill it all out, and we'll get that information. This will help allow us to really work with the regional sport directors as well as our competition folks to make sure that we're not overlapping with all the competition and all your amazing work that you're doing with your athletes. So some updates here, as you all probably know, this is just some housekeeping. The Central Falls sectional will be at Juniata September 22nd. Western will be at Slippery Rock on September 29th, and Eastern will be at DeSales on October 6th. all leading up to the big state event, Fall Festival at Villanova. It will be November 1st through the 3rd. I won't go over all these dates with you, but the information will be shared out with you on September 6th. So we talked a little bit, Michelle did in the video about USA Games. This is a qualifying year. So your quota timeline you will receive in mid-August, which is coming up soon. We'll share the list of qualified individuals with the RSDs and team leaders to review. And then athletes will be emailed and asked to complete a pre-selection questionnaire to be entered into the selection process. So we are looking for, as Michelle had mentioned before, SOPA staff to help out athletes or volunteers to fill in a few of the roles on the Pennsylvania management team. So if you're interested, we'll make sure that you get all this information and we'll share it with you in August, probably mid-August in the weekly email. The coach and medical staff applications will be sent out September 1st through October 1st. Now I'm going to give you one more video. It's just about our new portal and you'll get some really great information. If you haven't been in on the new portal, really take notes, look at this, or you can look at this video another time, but we're super excited and very proud of our new portal. So
hopefully everyone on this call has claimed their profile and is in the new portal at this point in time. Erica, you can go to the next slide. This, as with all transitions like this, I think it takes some time and it'll take some time to make sure that we've got everybody in here and kind of functioning, learning how to navigate through. So again, we will be focusing with a little bit with you all here tonight, and then with our coaches, just making sure that all of our volunteers have a little bit of insight and hopefully feel a little bit more comfortable navigating through this new portal. As I've said, so step one is really getting people to claim their profiles. I think you all know by this point in time, Jackie and Chelsea have been talking about it for quite a while, but this will be our new database system. It really will be a new management system. There are a lot of bells and whistles. There are a lot of things. Everything that we just talked about in the tracker, we hope to be doing in the portal. Fingers crossed this time next year, maybe 18 months from now, but everything will start to be managed from a coach perspective, a team perspective, an athlete perspective within this portal. So it's good. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I think a lot of this stuff will get much easier. It's being built out. This is a brand new system. It's been a collaboration between Special Olympics International, Microsoft, and then 6 different state programs. So clearly Pennsylvania being one of them, that has really been a leader in this whole entire process, which is great because we get to help build and design it, right? So we get to make sure that it's got some of the functionalities that we want and need, which is why we felt like it was really important to come in on the front end. So this is what the home screen looks like. If you can just go back real quick, if someone is landing here that is a returning volunteer, it's just really important that we're not creating new accounts. All of their data, if they were in visas previously, has been transferred over to the portal. So they should be claiming their profile and kind of going in through that direction. So go ahead, you can go to the next page. Again, hopefully most of you have went through this at this point in time. If you have not, all of the claim your profile emails went out in April-May timeframe. They went out kind of in a scattered over a few different weeks. They came from a do not reply email address. So a lot of them are getting caught up in spam filters or trash email. So if you're looking for yours, if you've got coaches that are looking for theirs, you may just, if you give them this like portals at Special Olympics PA, typically you can go do a search within your email and hopefully that'll pop up. They will be resending all of these emails at some point, maybe later this month or into August. When they resend them, they will come from a Special Olympics. So it'll say Special Olympics. And then the portals at specialolympicspa.com. So hopefully better than the do not reply. I mean, that was one of the pieces of feedback that we got in that initial push out. If you need to claim your profile and you can't find that email, you can email this here. It's kind of our new just support email. So it's portalsupport@specialolympicspa.org. You can email that. They will get you the information that you need to go in and claim your profile.
This document here, if you want to pull it up, Erica, you can. I'm not going to go through it page by page. It's probably 9 or 10 pages long, but one of our very awesome volunteers from Summer Games put this together to kind of help her volunteers that were coming to her venue step through the process. If it won't open, it's not a big deal. It's just a PDF and it walks you through step by step how to claim your profile. So you'll have the link to this as we send out the PDF and the recording. Again, super useful tool that you can share with your people as well, just with, you know, how to go in and step by step claim your profile. You can go to the next one. So just a little bit of navigating through the portal. So I think as you get in, and kind of part of claiming your profile is updating your contact information. So just really important to make sure that we've got the most update email, the most update cell phone number. For those of you that were at Summer Games, right, we're kind of utilizing text blasts and things like that to communicate for what's happening at events. We're getting all those cell phone numbers through the information that's here in the database. So it's just important that this stuff is correct. So we're able to properly communicate with you or reach you as needed. And then some of the things you'll see as you kind of get to your home screen, this is really what I would call kind of your home screen, your volunteer zone within the portal. You'll see these different options. So review your checklist, sign up for an event, or do more with Special Olympics. So we'll get into kind of what's under each of those that is important for coaches to know. You can go to the next one, Erica. So on your checklist is everything that you will need based on the role that you have. So all of the information that all the certifications, all of the background stuff that you had in visas should have transferred over here. If you're in here, you're looking at it and something's not right, or maybe something's missing, again, just contact that portal support. We'll work with you. We'll try to get those things fixed. But everything that all the certifications you have, kind of all the trainings that you've taken should pop up here on your checklist. And you'll see things are either completed or if things are out of date. So like my concussion awareness training is out of date. That is now marked as incomplete, something that I need to go in and do. Things that are kind of upcoming to expire, it'll actually say in there, will expire in 60 days, will expire in 30 days. So if you're kind of coming in here on a regular basis, you should be able to see those things. You will also, similar to like we've done in visas, you will get some notifications at those key time points when things are due to expire, letting you know that you'll just need to go in and re-up them. But all the background clearances, so you'll see here, PA disclosure statement, all of you, I didn't copy everything, but background check, right? So all of your PA child abuse clearances, all that stuff is kind of managed in here. You'll see it as completed. All your training. So this is where you come to take general orientation, protective behaviors, concussion training. You just come here. Everything will link directly to those trainings through here. It'll automatically update that you've completed it once you have completed it. So it's really nice trying to just automate a lot of those processes. So you're not waiting on someone, you know, us on the back end to manually update some of those things for you. This is also where you will now see practicum hours and continuing education. So you see a practicum hours in here. Yours will look a little bit different. It'll have practicum hours kind of bocce, practicum hours soccer per sport. But and I've got another slide on that. I'll show you what that looks like. But just trying to make the process easier, right? Trying to kind of get all these things in one place, so it's easier for our volunteers to manage. Again, same with continuing education, which we'll get to here in a second. So you can go to the next one. That is what your checklist looks like. That do more with Special Olympics button. So this is where you go to say, what do I want to be in Special Olympics Pennsylvania, right? So if you are not already a coach and you want to be a coach, so if you're not already a coach, if I'm someone new coming into the portal, the only thing I'm going to have on my checklist is the Class B volunteer. Once I would come in here and I would say, okay, and so under coach, the only role that's there is assistant coach. That may change in the future, but this really captures all coaches, right? So if you're a head coach, if you're assistant coach, it doesn't matter. So just so you guys know that, it kind of covers just anyone who's filling a coaching role. If I would go in and click that button, which maybe I have on the next screen, but and then I say like, I want to apply for this assistant coach position. My checklist will then update with all the Class A certifications that I need to be a coach, right? So you're not going to see those things on your checklist until you say, I want to fill that role. So that's where you do that. You do that kind of in this do more with Special Olympics. So you'll see the ones that I think we will really use. I've starred here. So it's the coach and then the team support. So the team support are just chaperones. So anyone who is helping, at a competition or at an overnight event, local program support. So all of our team leaders, managers, our sport team leaders, that is kind of local program support. So if you're filling a role like that, and then unified partners. Under kind of general and event would be some of the roles that are specific to events. So, right, you can be kind of a group lead for a corporate group at coming to summer games, right? So there are some different roles that you'll see listed within there under athletes and the health and fitness, our mentorships and things like that. So different things in there, but I think the ones we would need to focus on from a competition perspective are that coach and the team support. Okay, I think that one's good. You can go to the next one. So signing up for an event. So super important. This is where we will now sign up for coach training schools. So this is also where you will sign up to be a day of volunteer at summer games or at a fall sectional, right? So as we're directing all of our Class B volunteers, they are also starting portal accounts. They are also coming in here. That is how they will sign up for an event. So, as you start to kind of direct some people in that direction, important for you to know that as well. But this is where we will do coach training school registration. So clearly we'll have a lot of those opening up here for the fall season. As you'll see just down below where the 2 yellow stars are. So if you click on sign up for an event, you will see right there sports training school registration. It is super important. So you see kind of in my blue arrow pointing to this kind of peachy box here. So you have to complete the Class B liability on your My Checklist before you'll even be able to see anything. So everyone coming in needs to complete that Class B liability, I think it's called maybe, but on your My Checklist. And again, you'll see it as something that's incomplete. So it'll for sure stand out. But that may be one of the reasons, if you have people saying, I don't see this for whatever reason, that may be one of the reasons they're not seeing it. So just cue them, go back, make sure they fill that out. And again, if you continue to have any struggles, you can just email that portal support. Just important to know all of our track 2. So any experienced coaches, and track 2 is really just for people coming in with a lot of experience in a particular sport. So you have coached that sport at high school, college level, officiated that sport. We like to see kind of an in-depth, not just, I played basketball when I grew up, but some in-depth participation in a specific sport in order to go track 2. But those will still be managed through that track 2 application link. We're not yet managing them through the portal. So that's the one thing just important to note that'll continue to happen outside of the portal. If you go to the next slide, it'll just show you what it looks like once you click on the sports training schools. So these are a list of the sports training schools that are currently up there. They're up there. People can get in. It looks like hopefully we've got maybe some people registering for some of those things. But so we've got LDR virtual trainings and Bocce virtual trainings up and ready to go for this fall season. Once you click on that, this is what it looks like. So it just gives you kind of the start date, the end date, a little bit of a description. For all these virtual ones, it really just says you'll be provided with a link a few days prior to the training. And you just click sign up, and then you can go to the next slide. Just super important too that everyone is actually registering for training schools. Once a training school happens, we'll get attendance. We'll go in, we just click that people were there, and then it will automatically populate those that they are attending in that sport within their checklist. It'll automatically populate their practicum hours. But if an individual has not signed up via the portal, none of that stuff will happen. And it's going to take a lot longer for us to get all that stuff active within their portal account. So please, 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 make sure people are just going in here and getting registered for the training schools. So you'll see here, once you register for something, so I registered for one of the LDR training schools. Once you're back on that home screen, kind of your volunteer zone, it'll pop up right there, anything that you've registered for. So that is the training that I registered for. If I was also registered to volunteer at an event, it would pop up there. So I think that's really nice that it just kind of is a good reminder of the things that you have signed up for. And then this was just, sorry, I guess I should have done that one first, but on the bottom there with the great, you signed up. So once you actually hit sign up for one of those things, it verifies that you've signed up. You can click kind of the add to your calendar. It gives you the option to add to a Google Calendar or an Outlook calendar. We know that the start dates in there are a little wonky. We're just going to change it to January 1 to December 31 to hopefully not throw anybody off. But since we've managed it the way that we have and just calling this like a sports training school registration, we can't give that a specific date. So like for summer games, it would say the specific job and the specific dates that the job is running. So understand that's a little wonky. We'll just make sure people understand. But you know, it says right there the LDR training I signed up for is on August 19th at 6:30. So and when you add to your calendar, that is also what it will get added as. Okay, I think you can go to the next one. So practicum hours. So again, we have tried to significantly simplify this process for individuals. This will be the new way to submit practicum hours. You just go to your checklist again after you have taken a training. You will see this appear on your checklist. Once you've completed those 10 hours, this talks to you about how those hours can be calculated. So up to 5 of those hours can be obtained prior to your training. 5 of the hours need to be obtained after you've taken the training. So if you took a training yesterday and you're going in and you're saying yes to your practicum hours form today, that's probably going to raise a red flag, right? Like you need to get 5 hours of your practicum training after you take your training. So just once you've completed those 10 hours, you come in here, you just kind of, you know, that we ask, you're reading through this form and then you just click that box that says I've read and agree with the practicum hours, and then you hit renew and your practicum hour submission is done. So again, have just tried to simplify this process for our coaches. And I think that's it for the portal. Again, there are definitely a lot of other things. We're just trying to scratch the surface here on, you know, what we feel like is important for coaches to know.
All right, that's a lot of great information. I know it was a longer webinar, but we just actually, I'm impressed. We made it to 7:02. I am going to stop sharing so that I can see all of your lovely faces. And if we have, I see we have some questions in the chat. Let me go through it. Are there any updates from the rules from last year? There are no updates from the rules from last year, Brian. For soccer, training date changed yesterday to a later date. Yes, we got that information and we'll get that information out to you. Have portal invitations been sent out to the athletes yet? No. And Amelia had to go to jump on Jen's sports camp webinar, so I get it. That's great. Does anybody have any questions other than what was in the chat about soccer for this fall? My colleague Lauren is here, and I'm not sure if Bruce Bach joined us or not. I can't see if he's here. Oh, this is great. I can't believe this. Does anybody have anything to share? As I said in the video, right after the video, I am sending out tomorrow the Central Falls sectional event information tomorrow to the regional sport directors, and they will be sending it out to the coaches after that. So in there, I will have the event information, and I will also have that letter of intent interest form that you can fill out. I think that is it. Once we finish here, I will make sure that we get this recording up on our website, and the PDF slides will go out to you so that you can go through it on another time if you had any said, oh, I know she talked about it, but I want to go back to that one slide and really get some looks and details on it. So you have it at your own leisure. I really appreciate all of your time and all that you're doing for our athletes, and we can't wait to see you at fall sectionals. Have great training and have an awesome 8 weeks. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you all soon.
Thank you.
Lauren, thank you very, very much.
Yeah, of course. It was not that bad.
You did awesome.
Thank you. Do you need anything else from me to
Nope.
do?
We are good.